Skin color really only is skin deep. My kinks, coils, honey skin, they don't really make up who I am. Being a melanin goddess doesn't really mean I know how to shoot hoops or I can dance. There isn't any scientific evidence that proves that just because you're Asian, you love math, and just because you're black, you love fried chicken.
Most variation is within, not between races. Race does not determine your unique abilities.
Race is a modern idea.
Race and freedom were born together.
The concept of race and freedom were created at the same time to justify one another. Race justified freedom in who didn't have it, and freedom in who didn't have it then could be enslaved.
It's so apparent that the idea of freedom to escape oppression and to create a better society quickly descended into new excuse for discrimination against people of different beliefs and also for the exploitation of the other.
Slavery predates race. Okay, so the idea of slaves wasn't created 100 years ago. The ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, they all had slaves, but they were all of different backgrounds. Race and skin color is new, used as a way to create a divide amongst people to justify slavery. And all it's created is a world of systematic oppression.
Race justifies social inequalities as natural.
The unfair treatment of others has been accepted as a social norm because of racial stereotypes. Nationwide, criminals are identified by race, creating a pattern of discrimination and abuse towards a specific group of people.
We have to stop being lazy and using stereotypes to judge others.
Human subspecies don't exist.
Unlike wolves, dogs, and dingoes, humans cannot be classified into different subspecies. We simply aren't that different. And sadly, for bad 1990s horror films, vampires are not a subspecies either.
Race isn't biological, but racism is still real. Some may say that if race isn't real, then how is racism real? Well, you have to look at what's going around you. The fact that thousands of black men and women are being stopped in the street simply because of what they look like, how they speak, how they dress, that's still racism. It's a social construct, but it still has a lot to do with how our society works. I see color. I'm going to see that that person is white and that person is black. This white person isn't judged because of their hair, they aren't judged because of their eye color, but this black person, our kinks, our coils, they're told that they're ugly, they're not good enough. That's an act of racism. An act of racism basically means you're taking something from a specific group of people and saying, that's not okay. And then you make it systematic. You put it in laws and make mass incarceration. You create redlining where black men and black women can no longer have houses. You create it in our school systems where black kids are reading 10-year-old textbooks where white kids are reading the new ones.
Color blindness will not end racism. It always bothered me when folks make this comment. I think a lot of times it's being said because it's supposed to mean that you're not racist. But think about it. If you don't see color when you look at me, does that mean I'm transparent, invisible, just an outline? I understand the unintentional offense, but it still doesn't make sense to me. It only annoys me. Hey, see me, this beautiful chocolate woman.
It is time that us as a society stop telling people who they are and let them show us through their most authentic self, which has nothing to do with race.
Okay. Jesus help me.